Do you want to go from this to this? Let's go. Let's go. Valorant's for the most part a mental game, which is something you've probably heard before. And there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube on how not to tilt. But what do you do if you do tilt? And how do you stop raging? I speak from experience when I say that you can't just stop tilting without having some slip-ups. So it's important to know how to not lose your mind at that Phoenix who keeps flashing on your team. So in this video, I'll explain how not to tilt, what to do when you tilt, and how to stop tilting. So the first thing is how not to tilt, and that's a typical case of easier said than done. It's like aim training. You can't just start doing aim lab and B10s after one day. You have to develop it, and that means that you have to make mistakes every once in a while. I've gone on a long journey of smashing up keyboards and screaming at my team, but now I've got it mostly under control. Not tilting in its most simple form is just being able to take a step back and get your shit together. And taking a step back also means that the game ultimately has to mean less to you. For example, if you know your team is shit, start accepting that you might lose. And I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. If you can't accept that something can be a loss, that means that the outcome means less to you. So instead of raging at the fact you're not winning, you can take pride in the rounds that, prove that wrong. And sometimes you're barely gonna have an impact on a game, and maybe it's tied up. What you can do is just see it like this. Right now, my team doesn't need me to tie the game up, so every single round I do something is a round where I get an edge over the enemy. Essentially, I have the control over how easy it is to win or lose. And on top of that one rough game, all you need to get back into that game is to get one good round. Always keep that in mind. One good round can make you just shift your mental completely and make the game so winnable for you. Some games I've played, I've briefly raged, and it wasn't that strong of a rage, and I still kind of had it under control. At that point, you have to make sure it doesn't slip into a big rage, because that's when it can't be stopped. And I still have them, as you saw in the intro. And that's what makes us human, and more importantly, that's what makes us learn. So take the experience of raging in that game, and use it as an example on what not to do in the future. An example of a game I played recently was in the intro clips. In the first clip, I slip up for a bit, and I let out my anger, but something you can see even from right after it happened, I immediately realized and started accepting that something went wrong, and I went to go and fix it. And fast forward a few rounds.
Go.
Let's go. Let's go. And the second clip is where I've just completely turned my mental around, which is not only because we started winning, but also because I accepted everything, that was going on. I took a step back from the game and I got back the mental that I needed to win the game. If you do rage, please do not press down your mic button in game. Yes, okay, your mental might be in the trash right now, but your teammate's mental isn't. And if it is, well, don't worry about it. You don't have to do anything except maybe mute them. Do everything you can not to mess with your team's mental unless you want to improve it. Ultimately, your goal as a teammate is to spread positivity in your team. And sometimes you can't do that. So then don't. Don't even try. Just call out, and that's all you need to do. If you're with a team or a duo or something like that, I would set up a code word, something that whenever you tilt in game, they can say and you stop raging, which I don't know about you guys, but if someone tells me what to do when I'm raging, I really get pissed off, which is why the code word kind of helps for me, because it's a precaution that I set up so that whenever someone rages or I rage, you can just say that code word, and all that you have to do is remember, okay, I decided that I couldn't rage while they were trying to play, and you won't be in their way unless they say that word, so you know everything's alright. This video might make everything look easy, but obviously it isn't that simple. I've been trying to get better at this for, like, years now, and I have a lot of practice. So all I can tell you is that it gets better over time, and as you play, you build up experience in something like this.